So thanks for dropping by and having a look at the RV electrification roadmap. I'm Andrew Huett from OzXcorp. OzXcorp's a technology-based company, engineering company, with a focus on EV-style caravans. So that is electrifying electromotive caravans, so the electric wheels, regen wheels, battery systems. So taking a caravan into the future of a EV platform. So, and I'm going to go through the reasons why that's important to understand, why we're here, but also why the industry is also going to pivot into this EV, into this EV future. So, let's see if this works. All right, here we go. So, I just want to share a picture with you. Hopefully, you can see the whole thing. I think it's important to understand that there's a starting point to everything, and every business, at the end of the day, there's sort of like a mental break. Mental break for me was back in the exactly the 3rd of January 2021 is when this shift in my mind happened about the business. 42 degrees in daytime, low 30s in far outback Western Australia. And to make a very long story short, you couldn't sleep, it was too hot, and there was no other way to just get to sleep and relax. And I was at that point there where I was working in the automotive industry, and I knew the technology required to make caravans all electric and also off-grid. But in that case, that didn't matter. I had to actually use rubbish bags and a ducting system to get the cold air from the car into the caravan. Otherwise, you just couldn't sleep. But if I have to do that, then what's the normal public going to do? The reality is why do we have to get to this point to have a reality check? No one had done anything, and it could have been done. And so this is the sort of starting point mentally that someone had to do something, and so I decided at that point that it had to be done. So there's a lot more behind the scenes with co-founders and investment and growth of our industry, but at that point there mentally, that's where it started. So that's a bit of background. So RV electrification roadmap. So it's very important to understand that the RV and caravanning as we know it today must pivot to a sustainable motive-assisted solution to remain practical. It might sound really bizarre, but this industry is on the corner of a pivotal change towards supporting the electrification and decarbonisation. If the industry doesn't change and we don't adapt, then the actual caravan industry will fall with it. It's clear as that, and you may have seen an article in news.com that came out this week to that effect. It's actually very important for this industry to need to change, not just us, the industry in full. But it starts at a consumer level as well. So we've got used to our big vans and our big rigs and our big V8s and all this other, big systems, and they're still around and they're still there. But I just want to let you understand the gravity that Australia is, I say graced with a very relaxed Euro 5 standard. That's an emission standard that's out. But to the rest of the world, that would be considered a dumping ground. We're a vehicle dumping ground at Euro 5. Most other countries have got on with Euro 6A, 6B, and are heading towards Euro 7. What does that mean? And I try to do a pictorial, so bear with me. So, this is how the world's progressed in terms of emission control over many, many years. Euro 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6A, 6B. There's been concessions. But I want you to understand from that pictorial there, that little black block. See that little black piece just down the bottom left-hand there? If I move across, I've zoomed in. This is the emissions control standard that your vehicles must meet post-2025. So you can understand the gravity of vehicle manufacturers. They have to meet these targets, and a lot of the manufacturers are saying, you know what, we're out. Or it's going to be a 2.2 litre engine with EcoBoost, and it's going to be this crazy contraption running 32 PSI to try and meet the standards. But people like Volvo, other companies, as you said, we're out, we're going all electric. And we don't have control of that. We don't make cars here in Australia anymore. We're at the destiny of the international market, and the international market with the Paris Climate Agreement, this is set in stone. This won't stop. That's why the world's changing, and that's why we need to change, because our prime mover is the pickup truck, the four-wheel drive, and it's changing radically. So that's the pictorial graphic about how radical this is changing. And it's a rabbit warren. And the government has no control on this. It's just part of the International Paris Climate Agreement. We've signed up, we must do it, as have many other countries. That's the gravity. And that's a pictorial size. So it is practically not possible to continue with manufacturing big block combustion engines post-2025. That's it. It's done. To make matters worse, Euro 7 vehicles will report to the cloud, so to the internet, your real-time CO2 emissions, and it's very likely you'll be paying carbon tax on that vehicle as well. When you start that car in 2025, all that data goes to the cloud, you connect up the Caravan, and you pull that Caravan and it's heavy. All that data goes to the cloud and you pay an emissions tax. If you put a DC-DC controller in your car, it may be actually non-compliant because you've messed with the emissions profile. That's how strict it's getting. So where are we going? Welcome to the new world. Ford Ranger, hybrid, 2.2 litre. This is the new world you're looking at. So EV charging Ford Rangers with a very small engine running at exceptional overboost. You probably can't see it here, no you won't see it here, but a 48 volt battery, DC-DC converters. These hybrids are all a 48 volt system, and then the voltage goes high from there. So 12 volt, as you know it today in vehicles, is on a phase out. There'll always be a 12 volt system, but the architecture is 48 and above. That's where we're at. 2025 onwards, it's moving quick. And it's a pity, right? It's a real pity because there's nothing better than towing with a decent rig and going around Australia. But this is the reality, and it's right here, right now. Not that I want to spend much time on this, but this is what it looks like in vehicle technology. You've got mild hybrid, so 48 volt, 51 volt, that's the Ford Ranger you just saw. It's a host of other vehicles that have hybrid control. Full hybrid, 200 volt system. There's a plug-in hybrid, which is about 400 volt systems. And then of course you've got full EVs from 400 to 900 volt battery systems. So this is the new world we're coming right into right now. 4 different categories, and there's one more, which is hydrogen. If it gets legs, that'll add to the list as well. So I had a question yesterday, and it's cliche. Isn't this 48 volt system stuff unproven? And topically speaking, you would think it's all new. 48 volt systems or 51 volt systems have been around for a long time and used in mild hybrids for many, many years. So Audi, Ford, Hyundai, Ram, Jeep, there's many 48 volt systems that you see coming into this industry now have exceptional use. They're well understood, they're mature, and the reason you can buy these things now is because of the vehicle industry. Not so much the innovation of us, we're leveraged off the vehicle industry. This pictorial here, you can see it's a 48 volt architecture now. It still has 12 volts, but the actual battery could even be 800 volts, because that's what they need for the efficiencies. So the core architecture moving forward now on Cybertruck and many other cars is 48 volts, 48 to 51 volts. So it's not all bad because it looks pretty good, but here's a snapshot, and I mean just a snapshot of some of the automakers in the US, but hold tight, and you've probably seen the LDVs and a few others. The Chinese are coming up really quick with electric pickups, but here's a snapshot of some of them coming, and if you travel to the States, you'll see some of these cars already on the road. It's quite remarkable when you go into California or the US, they're driving around, they're getting on with it. So we haven't been exposed to this yet. The US is well and truly exposed, but this is coming really fast. So we all know this. If you tow with an electric car, then the EV range fails. And so we've got this problem. We've got an industry, vehicle industry, that is moving forward, but we've got this industry just here with these solutions that you have to drag through the air with no technology. And so we're actually at a crossroads now where investment into the right power systems and the right technology is absolutely required. If we don't make investments as manufacturers or consumers make this choice, then actually the industry will follow down the rabbit hole. So it's really, really quite important to understand that in this year today, And as we move through into 2025, your decisions as consumers and the manufacturers, importantly, need to proactively be embracing EV-style caravans. And I'll step into what that means. Now, there's manufacturers out there, and I've got a couple up here which you'll know, that are putting lots of batteries in the chassis. And I'd say, great. If you've got an extra $100,000 and an additional 1 ton of payload, go fit them. That will help. But it's not practical. So there's still a problem, because how's the normal consumer going to afford EV-style caravans behind an EV? You're not going to afford it. It'll just be for the rich. So you can see them. People are going to buy them. The early adopters will buy these things. But it's not the solution. It's just a stopgap. And credit to Lightship and credit to Pebble, which I'll show. Great looking RVs. You know, wouldn't last in the Australian outback. They'll probably fall apart. But they're starting. The industry is starting. There's Pebble as well. Aerodynamic, you know, trying to think slick. Again, full of batteries, so not really practical. But the industry is moving in the US. They're making changes. That's the important point. So what do we need to do? So industry and consumers can progressively get ready now by being receptive to technology adoption. Now that might sound really bizarre, but this industry is being somewhat immune from wanting to evolve. We all know, people talk about it being 30 years behind. Maybe it's 10 years behind now, but it better be only 2 or 3 years behind very, very quickly. Radical adoption. So what can we do? What can you do? What can everyone do? All right, put your glasses on. I didn't know it was that small. I just finished this literally 5 minutes before here. So I think the important point is that it's a twofold process. This requires the manufacturers to be involved, and it requires the consumer to make decisions. You have to push, but the manufacturer has to be on board. So reducing weight, best-in-class construction for thermal and weight performance. Thermal efficiency is equally as important. Why would you pull up, put a heating system on, and throw all the heat through the walls? That's energy. Applying significant emphasis on aerodynamics. They have to radically change soon. Not radically, they have to improve. Start now with electrification principles and methods. So again, manufacturers need to start with the methods of electrification. You can't simply just jump into this. There's a learning curve. Educate your suppliers and consumers to adapt. So the manufacturer might be well ahead, like Retreat ERV, they're 5 years into this. They're educating consumers. Start to pivot and future-proof your business by researching. You want to be actively researching as a manufacturer where to go. And I'm here as OzX. Doesn't mean you have to use us, but we see ourselves as one of the forefront leaders in this space. What can the consumers do? Electrifying is a new level of convenience. So I want to be very clear. Once you electrify, you'll never go back. That's whether it's our system, it's Arizon, anyone. If you can electrify, the convenience level will step right up. True off-grid freedom can be achieved. I think it's important to understand, protect your residual value by modernizing your power system today. Invest in your power system, because if you want to keep your residual, people are going to look at what you got in 3 or 5 years and go, oh, you know, that's a bit shabby. Well, that's not compliant now anymore. But so think about what you're buying. You know, choose the right system now and invest in the power system, invest in quality, make the right decisions. Really important, because we're changing so quick. Consider caravan manufacturers that resist, fight, change to adopt technology. There is manufacturers who will resist change. You've got to be careful with that, right? If they're resisting this technology or they want to go down that path, consider what that means for you as a buyer, because I'll be honest, will they be here in 5 years? Because they're not adapting. They have to adapt. They must adapt. Take into account the thermal efficiency of the caravan or RV. Again, composite, pseudo-composite, think about the thermal efficiencies. You can't buy a house without insulation and a good 5-star, 7-star rating. So why would you consider anything less in your RV? Don't buy a power wall. Invest in the equivalent power wall in your RV and take it with you. So some power systems like ours will allow you to run your house, but also take it with you on the road. So invest in the RV, then use it when you get home, but take it with you. don't just simply see this as a cost. It's an investment, and it has a residual, so invest in that. So I just want to show you a little bit about our roadmap, and it's very light covered, I guess. If you want to speak more about it after this, we certainly will be across the road just here. But I just want to give you a snapshot. So OzXcorp in 2019 here at the Melbourne Supershow was the first company in the world to demonstrate electric drive and regen in a smaller caravan. So we did that back in 2019. The reason we haven't come out with that yet is because the consumers aren't ready for that. Yes, we could sell maybe 2 a week or 3 a week, but that's not ready for business. So in 2025, when the punch comes and the cars come, where you have to adapt, volume will increase. So we're doing that back in 2019, and that was an off-road test we did with RV Daily. The other thing too is that we built a 100% electric platform, a test caravan. It's already done 120,000 kilometres of testing to date. It never stops. That's fully electric. And when I say fully electric, you can only be fully electric if your electric hot water, so if your hot water is fully electric. Propane hot water isn't fully electric. So there's big differences in systems when you consider fully electric. This van's here at the Super Show. This thing's got some really remarkable technology. It's fully electric. It's got 11 kilowatt inverters, 14 kilowatt hour battery packs. It's the safest battery in the world, hands down. And we can run you through the technical details, but there's some serious engineering in there for your safety. Up to 60 litres of fresh water is generated in that caravan behind me right now, every single day. The shower is tankless. There's no tank for hot water. It's all instantaneous at 5.5 litres per minute. There's no taps. There's nothing. It's a clean shower. It's just a flow control, that's it. It does EV charging, but it can also charge EVs as well. So if you've got a Rivian or some sort of Cybertruck, you can use the solar system to also push power into that as well. So it's complementary. DC-DC charger at 80 amps, so it's fully isolated, some good stuff there. And the air conditioning system is a 5 kilowatt output, so if you walk in that van after this, well, today's a good day for it, you walk in that van there, you'll be blown away how cold it is in there. Again, 30 mil composite, 40 on the roof, good air conditioner, good power system. I don't think we'll all fit at the same time, so. There's got to be step one though. So step one for the industry right now, it's really important to understand we're not ready for the electric wheels just yet because the demand's not there. But step one is getting electrified and using EV technology bases to get there. So again, our batteries and EV style sled, external mounted, safety first, high voltage interlock. I can go through all that sort of stuff later on, but this is best in class for the RV industry. We sell into the US, we sell into Australia. It doesn't get any better than this. The inverter, complete turnkey inverter. So 5 kilowatt inverter, 100 amp, 13.1 volt. The long and short story is it's turnkey, plug and play. You can hot swap this. Anyone here could install this or uninstall it. So, and again, that's the important point, is that we need to be quick, we need to be nimble, and it needs to be powerful but efficient. Number 3 is that you can choose your solar on the roof. Now, every van has different types of solar. And of course, the batteries in the chassis over here. But what I'm trying to say is that really, with our system, with EV thinking, there's that, you pick your solar, you're done. And it's all plug and play, every part of it. Or, it's pictorial, that's what you get on the production line per se, but that box, that battery and some parts, you're done. It's got to be simple, it's got to be foolproof, and it's got to be, all above board. The next part, this is the really cool stuff, the part that everyone wants. And it's coming, we've got the technology developed, but this is the really cool stuff where we've got to have wheel regeneration and drive. This part here, you can't see behind me, but we have electric wheels. So the electric wheels in the wheel, it's in the hub. So you can have 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive, diff lock, 4-wheel drive. You can go to Fraser Island, you can get out of a bog. But the other part too that's important is that we have to assist the vehicle. So unless you want a chassis full of batteries, and you don't, because it's unaffordable and it doesn't work, you will choose an OzXcorp. We're the only company to do this. We've designed and developed our own micro turbine. we've fitted an APU. We've turned an RV into a Toyota Camry. And that APU sits within the RV to assist in any power generation when you require it, but it also assists in driving the solution, because we don't want to buy lots of batteries, we don't want to mine a lot of equipment. We want to make sure we've got the most efficient platform in the world to use fossil fuel still, and it works on hydrogen as well, but uses those dense fuels to get you where you need to get to. Because let's be honest, you want to do 600 Ks in a day. That's what you want to do. So we're the only company to go down that route, and it's even caught the attention of the Australian military, and they're now funding us as well for a military solution. So if I had a video of this, you'd be quite excited. So this is well and truly well underway. It's actually 2.5 years in. That will be fitted to that van in the next couple of months. I wanted to show it today, you would spin out. That's the future. That's affordable, and guess what? If you run out of power, you turn it on and it makes this dull hissing noise. That's it. No crazy generator noise. So that's a real radical pivot to the industry. I think I tried to cram it all in. So that's a very quick overview. There's a lot more detail behind the scenes, but I just wanted to give you a snapshot of why this industry is changing, why we need to change, and why the right decisions now in your purchase make a big difference for the future as well. But there's some really cool stuff coming up. Any questions?
This year's Victorian Caravan and Camping Supershow has more than ever.
An adventure zone, the RV master stage, a kids zone, and the off-grid campground of the future.
Let's get going.
Melbourne Showgrounds, February 21 to 25. Tickets online. Start here, go anywhere.